I'm Ferdinand Washington III, and this is the Breakdown. With me for opening week, as always, is my co-host, Chadwick Chad Chuck Charles. What's week one got in store for us, Chad Chuck?
Thanks, Ferd. We got a couple interesting things here. Some hot divisional matchups, a bunch of unproven teams trying to build a foundation for a new season, and some controversial decisions from some old standby coaches. Some very interesting matchups. The one that catches my eye is Questenstein's Burn Team Deathman versus Eminon's AKB 49er.
Well, with that, let's move into the AFC and Questenstein's first matchup against Eminon. I think we should start with the issue that's on everyone's mind here. How will Questenstein fare coming off his single-season suspension?
Yeah, that was a truly controversial and polarizing issue as he was suspended for a season, shaving points off of Blood Bowl. Truly the most un-American thing I can think of. But
Hmm.
several of his fans did rush to his defense, saying that there is nothing explicitly stating in the rules that can't be done. So the rules have been changed. He's back on the field, and let's see if he can get back to his impressive ways. You know, he is one of the winningest coaches in the history of Blood Bowl.
I think we can all agree he's a complete piece of garbage.
You're right, Ferd.
So Eminon's squad looked pretty good in preseason, but they haven't been playing together as a unit for very long. Do you think they have the training to beat the former Coach of the Year and alleged point shaver Questenstein?
Well, it'll all come down to team discipline. Questenstein has a history of losing man-to-man sort of situations where he can't exploit the other players or other coaches' positioning. So if there's a very disciplined sort of spread from Eminon, I believe that he will be able to take advantage of that, and that will be the key to victory from a coaching standpoint.
What do you think about the Blitzer matchup with Karate Time Todd and Mantrain versus the 49ers defensive core led by number one Akimoto Okaro Sayaka?
Well, Karate Time Todd is an absolute chimpanzee of a person. He will straight tear you in half. And that is going to be a difficult matchup for the 49ers. But I think that Okaro has shown enough flair in the preseason that he may have what it takes to defeat such a chimp.
We actually spoke to Coach Eminon earlier this week, and he says that the pressure Okaro had on her during the Senbetsu elections, whatever those are, has prepared her for the intensity that Karate Time Todd brings to the game.
Well, that sounds like absolute nonsense to me, Ferd.
Me too. On the last point of this one, before we move on, I'd like to talk a little bit about Big Foolish and Big Dummies last season's salary disputes. Coach Questenstein spoke to us earlier in the week as well, and he says he's looking at some replacement players next season, maybe mummies.
Well, if he's lucky, they'll be dead and he won't have to pay out their contracts, but it's always trouble for a front office when two players think they deserve more than they're being paid. Now, there's no doubt that these two are contributors, but it's hard to say whether or not such soft individuals could be worth the money they're asking.
I'm sure we can all agree on that. So moving to the bottom of the AFC, we have, or the BFD, I should say, we have
AFC.
In the AFC. We have Dirty Laundry's Kekistani Combat Frogs playing Naruto Smokehole 420's Tomb of the Boom.
Now that's a young
What do you think
hot
about that?
coach. I think that Naruto Smokehole 420 is the rookie coach of the season. I think he's going to be a real dark horse on this field, not just because he is amicable, but also because he demands a drive from his players that you just don't see every day.
It looks like the key matchup here is going to be on the line. Now, Naruto Smokehole 420 has decided to bulk up on both sides of the line this year, with his team mainstays Mrs. Jackson and Caroline being joined by inside threats Dope Boys number 1 and 2. I think most of the sporting world agrees that this is the strongest line in the league today. How do you think Coach Dirty Laundry will deal with this four-man menace?
I think that there's no doubt that Mrs. Jackson and Caroline are a mighty fine tandem on the line. But Dirty Laundry's real key here will be spreading them out, really exploiting one-on-one advantages rather than taking them as a four-man unit. It will be up to Naruto Smokehole 420 to really collectively smash them together and make them an inseparable force, a wall, if you will.
Hmm. Good point. Well, moving on to the BCD, on the other side of the AFC, we have John is Dude's CG Coconut Gun versus the Rincey's Average Family. And remember to check out Average Family at 5 p.m. on OBC. What do you think?
Is he allowed to do that?
Well, apparently. I just read the teleprompter.
Huh.
What do you think about revolutionary coach John is Dude's earlier in the week statement that if we play harder, we'll win?
I think that's possibly the most asinine statement ever uttered by a head coach in the world of Blood Bowl. I think that playing harder often leads to injuries, and I think it's these sort of platitudes that are the problem with the pro Blood Bowl game. Where is the trash talk? Where is the calling your opponent 11 9-year-old girls wearing only women's underwear, unprotected in devastating weather? Where, I ask you?
I couldn't tell you myself. I, too, missed that. I think that it really needs a strong return to the league.
Yes, I remember the days, decades past, where often you would use racist remarks to decry your enemy, and then, after defeating him, bankrupt the entire team by buying out all his journeymen.
Well, it looks like the key matchup here is going to be King Kung Fu's very physical offensive line against the devastating Stonewall defensive line led by visionary director Stevie Wonder. And what do you make of that matchup?
I think that this will come down to foresight. Visionary director Stevie Wonder, really a forward-thinking player, a man who really can see the field all the way down. And I think that it'll be that sort of vision that is the key to the matchup. If he can break through and see daylight, stop the opponent from seeing daylight, he will effectively shut down the offensive line.
Makes sense to me. Well, let's move on to the last matchup in the AFC, and that's going to be Ides of March's Destro You Idiot versus Dietz's Gridiron Ghasts. Now, Azur Krizir and Dreadthur have been hitting the gym hard in the offseason. And the key matchup, I think, should be how they stack up with Mind Control Dinosaurs, who appears to be some sort of giant ball of tentacles.
Well, Ides of March is a coach with a history of really sort of being a wuss, undermining the rules and sort of skirting, the edge of things. A real sad sack of a person, and I really think that this matchup is favored for newcomer Dietz. I think that eating the gym is really a hell of a thing to do in the preseason, and I'm a fan of their methodology, but it will be down to the giant ball of tentacles, like you said, I think.
They really look like they're big enough that they could have eaten the gym.
Well, at least parts of it.
Now, you have to think that Ides of March is worried about his lone running back laser my face into the moon after his partner Cobra Network Television retired last season. What do you think about that?
Well, as he plays for Ides of March, I hope to see him get creamed into the ground without his protection this season, but he is a player with a lot of intangibles, and I think he could make an impact if he just lets the mental game be left out of it, doesn't let that get to him.
Well, when we spoke with rookie coach Dietz, he acknowledged the strength of Destro You Idiot's running game, but he's confident he can stymie their limited offensive backfield.
That's a good use of stymie, Ferd.
Thanks a lot, Chad Shook. Now, moving on to the LCC. And starting the LDD, we're heading to the land down under for Bomber's Rumbling Dark Elves, coached by Bomber, versus Kaiser Friedrich Wilhelm II's Grimgore's Girls. Now, it looks like Bomber had some money to burn in the offseason when he picked up Mess with Crabbo, Get the Stabbo, but Grimgore's Girls seem pretty well equipped to shut him down. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know much about these two teams. I don't spend much time in the land down under, but I do think that Crabbo, Get the Stabbo is a hell of a player. I think possibly how willing to foul Bomber is in this matchup will be the key to it. He does seem like a man with questionable morals, so perhaps that will come into play, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we can probably look forward to some early action to 1-36, who rarely fails at anything. The key to the matchup, though, is looking like it's going to be the offensive backfield ball specialist and not accurate, and whether they can avoid the crushing hitting power of the girls' blitzers, for Gork and her sister, for Mork.
Well, if there's anything that Bomber's preseason has shown us is that anytime that there is a chance that he could fail, he will. So, if it's up in the air, if it's luck, if it comes down to a toss of the coin, I don't think that there's much chance for him at all.
Oh, I think we're all looking forward to him failing. Uh, Moving to the bottom of that division, we have Hungry Moth's Top Rope Tussler versus Wampa's Big Randy and the Jeffs. Now, Big Randy and his teammates, the Jeffs, are coming out of an astounding year where they set the single season record for most players banned from league games.
That sounds like the Jeffs I know, Ferd.
Yeah, they really do skirt the rules sometimes. But it remains to be seen whether they can actually play the ball, though, and as strong as Big Randy and his right hand man on the line, Bigger Randy, are, they're going to have their hands full with the Tusslers, Dwayne the Croc Johnson, the 5-year veteran out of Miami. What do you think about that matchup?
Yes, I think that the key is not hitting crock bottom, as he likes to call it, and also not falling victim to those devastating elbows that he throws on the line. He is famous for his sharp elbows, in fact, putting away many a veteran with them.
Hungry Moth also made some strange, maybe questionable moves in the offseason. The Crocs offensive line, I don't think, can be questioned. The Undersnaker, Giant Lizard, the Viper, Funkasaurus, Bobby Lashley, and Braun Lizardman are all very strong players, but it remains to be seen if their rookie backfield can get things done. Some question Hungry Moth's decision to hire a 9-year-old child to run the ball for him, and all eyes, I think, will be on Nicholas this week to see if he can get the job done.
Let me tell you, Ferd, this is a young athlete with all the intangibles. He's a former WWE Tag Team Champion. He is 4'11", which is very tall for his age, I'm told. He's got muscles like wet spaghetti, which make him great at slipping through little cracks, and he'll have Braun Lizardman to protect his back at all times. I think this is a guy we really need to watch for, and I think in the next 2 or 3 years he could develop into a really special prepubescent ball runner.
Should prove an interesting matchup. Finally, we move on to the ACD. Rookie head coach Chinaman is bringing his squad Your Waifu is Trash against the veteran Coppers Bird or Bat. Now, we met up with Chinaman earlier this week and asked him about the upcoming game, and he said he would focus on yoinking the ball and that he expected to do okay. Do you think that's a little too optimistic?
I think it's likely that Copper will never take Chinaman alive. I think that this is a match that's going to toss up where Chinaman's line will be completely devastated by injury, or Copper will walk away with the game, or otherwise he has no chance. That's how I feel about this.
It looks like the key will be whether vampire star Blapgap Sturgenmeyer can keep himself in check after hospitalizing 4 of his own teammates last season. He's a hungry boy. Now, his coach, Copper, expressed dismay as to whether Blapgap would even stay on the field, and he's counting on his thralls to carry the game. What do you think about that?
I think anytime a player gets too big ahead about their position and contribution to the team, and they decide to sit one out or hurt other players, I think that that's when you've really lost sight of what this game is about. And unfortunately, that could be a real detriment to him as the season develops.
All right, we'll see how that happens this week. We're going to move on to the last game now, and we have Coach Lucy Freshmuffin's Kaiba Court versus the always vocal Pickles 672's NFL Players Association. And I think the main object of contention here is whether Pickles should have hired the borderline insane Aaron Hernandez to lead his offensive line. There's no telling where that decision is going to lead. What do you think about that?
I think that there's a player with a go-get-it attitude. If he sees someone he wants killed, he'll smash them into the ground, and I admire that sort of gumption. This is a killer-be-killed league, Ferd, and I'm not sure that anyone with less of an attitude deserves to play here.
I think that if that's not the key matchup, it's certainly got to be veteran player Ray Rice's cannon of an uppercut against the entirety of this unsuspecting female team.
Now, let me talk about physical ability. If there's ever a dude who could lay the smacketh down on 11 or so women in a row, it is Ray Rice. With those absolute Yukon golds for biceps and lunch boxes for fists, he delivers these devastating blow after blow uppercuts to the jaw of these sweet, fragile women. I think, really honestly, he will be a player to watch in this match.
We spoke with Coach Lucy Freshmuffins earlier in the week, and he said that he's ecstatic to be playing such a weak opponent in Week 1 and plans to lean heavily on Darkflower Starsong, the prettiest player in the league. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that coach is a lolicon and a coward, and I think that probably he is remiss to look past such a strong opponent as Pickle 672 in the first week. If he leaves with even one team member unkilled, I'll be surprised, Ferd.
Okay, as always with the breakdown, we're going to finish on Chad Chuck's Lock of the Week. Take it away, Chad Chuck.
I think that there are two toss-up games for what will be the most entertaining game of the week, but between Questenstein's Burn Team Deathman and Eminon's up-and-coming AKB 49ers, as well as the most recently talked about game, Fresh Lucy Muffins Kaiba Corp versus the Always Vocals Pickle 672 NFL Players Association. Now, these two games both have a key element: personal rivalries at stake, two coaches, one in each game with a controversial backstory, tough matchups between star players all across the field. I think we'll see at least half a dozen players killed between each matchup, and I think that both outcomes will be highly contested.
Well said, Chad Chuck. From me, Fernando Washington, and Chad Chuck over here, this has been the breakdown. See you on the field.
Thanks, Ferg.
Yeah, that'll be hilarious.